Every relationship can be repaired. And one of the most contributing factors to marital success, especially when there's issues, is hope. Because with hope comes the drive to want to make things work. And my job as a rabbi, my job as a marriage counselor, is to inspire people with hope. Even more than giving people tools, more than just giving people skills and helping people sort through challenges, the biggest thing I can give people is hope. Because if people have hope, they have the ability to move forward. And I believe firmly that every marriage can be saved. That doesn't mean it will be, and it doesn't mean it necessarily should be. But that's not going to be my decision. That should never be a therapist's decision, a counselor's decision, a rabbi's decision. That has to be your decision. But that decision has to come from a place of clarity, and with hope comes clarity. The best thing I can give you is clarity, hope, and a feeling of, I believe in you. I believe in your autonomy to be able to make good and sane decisions. And that's why I never suggest to couples, why don't you get a divorce? The amount of people that have told me that their therapist had suggested, why don't you get a divorce? That is not the therapist's role. And that's not necessarily good advice. You barely know this couple. Why would you give that advice? You barely know them. Oh, yeah, but they told me about their life. You heard 45 minutes, an hour, once a week. You know them. You're qualified to give such advice. That's heavy shoulders. I would say that a rabbi should faster give that advice than a therapist, because at least a rabbi is there to share values, and maybe that's a value that's important. Whatever, separate discussion for a separate time. But I'm here to tell you that every marriage can be saved. That doesn't mean it will be, but it can be with hope. Now, how do I give couples hope? It's by going back to the root of the marriage. I had a mentor who would ask couples, instead of when they come in, so what's the problem? Instead of highlighting issues, he would say, how did you guys meet? Because he didn't want them to focus on the problem. He wanted to focus on why they got into this marriage in the first place. And when you go back to the source, when you go back to the root, it's much easier to repair things. When you go back to what you really want and how this worked in the past, you can kind of rebuild from there in the future. There's a midrash, Shir HaShirim Rabbah. Shir HaShirim, the book Song of Songs by King Solomon, is a love poem, a marriage description between the Jewish people and God. And in the midrash there it says, commenting on the biblical verse, Basi Lagani Ahoisi Kala, God says, I'm coming back to my garden. I want to come back to my garden. And the midrash says that God was originally in this world, in the Garden of Eden, and Adam and Eve kind of messed things up. But God says, I'm going to be coming back. I want to come back. I want to come back home. And it's like, how could we bring God back to this world? How could we bring the Garden of Eden state, this state of blissfulness, back to this world? This world looks crazy sometimes. And the answer is because we're not introducing anything new. We're going back to what already was. And instead of trying to introduce something new to the marriage, going back to what already was, going back to the ultimate core of the marriage, inspiring and asking yourself why I got into this in the first place, not skeptically, but with hope, is incredibly eye-opening, incredibly revelatory. There's a Jewish tradition at a wedding that the bride and the groom under the chuppah and the wedding canopy breaks a glass. This is an old tradition dating back to the Talmud. And there's different reasons for this tradition. The classic reason given is because we want to remember the destruction of Jerusalem, and even in our joyous moments, there's other people who are still in pain, and there's historical pain, and we can't forget that. That's the classic reason. But there's another reason. Commentaries explain. Because this couple needs to go into the marriage with hope. Although this is their most joyous moment at this point in their lives, and it should only get better and be more joyous, there may be times where it feels like the glass is broken. It feels like just things aren't working. And they have to realize that what they broke was a glass, not clay, not earthenware, not wood. Glass can be repaired. You just need heat, you need fire, you need passion, you need love. And with that heat, you can melt the glass together and you can become one. And the reason why you can become one again is because you already were one. Can a marriage be fixed? Can any marriage be fixed? The answer is yes. Will it? That's going to be your decision with the right empowerment. And if I could help in any way, you let me know. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.